When it comes to relationships, love is great, but it isn't enough. Turns out your relationship needs more than that. Stick around to learn 3 essential relationship skills you need to get the relationship you always wanted. This video is for any woman who's looking to build a lasting relationship with the guy you're dating. In order to illustrate this point, I'm going to tell you a story from my own dating life. When I was in college, I was dating a girl who I really felt like this was the one. She and I really cared about each other. We loved each other. We were together for years. But while we did have a lot of love for each other, there was a lot of key things in our relationship that simply didn't match. Our morals, values, and even religion just didn't mesh well together. And you might think, yeah, but I've been in love before. Love can conquer all. But in reality, love can do a lot of things. But when it comes to core belief structures that don't match, it actually can't conquer that alone. Because without any wiggle room, there's no place to go. We really tried to make it work. We really thought, yeah, love will prevail. I've seen all the Nicholas Sparks movies. I love romance as a genre. And I was like, yeah, I've seen this in movies. But what you don't see is that if those two people really aren't at their cores compatible with who they are, it's really a lot harder than you think. And even though we had love, it didn't prevail, didn't work. So let's talk about what went wrong. Love isn't enough for a lasting relationship. This isn't because love isn't important. It's just that when you're in the throes of your relationship in the beginning, that is a very different type of love than when you've been together for 10 years, you have a kid together. That's a very different kind of love. And they're both important, but they require a lot more than just that base feeling that we're talking about. You may have all of the great positive feelings, but feelings alone isn't enough to get you through tough times. Has this ever happened to you? Write in the comments below if this has ever happened to you. We had all those good positive feelings, but it just wasn't enough to get you over some of the hurdles that life threw your way. Saying love is all there is like picking up a single piece of a puzzle and screaming that you've solved the puzzle because you see the whole piece. But you don't actually see the whole puzzle. That piece is important to the puzzle, but that's not all of it. If you really want a relationship that will stand the test of time, then you're going to need a lot more pieces in this particular puzzle in order to make it work, because love is just one piece. Essential piece, but just one. But don't worry, I'm going to give you 3 essential relationship skills you need to make your relationship last so you can start gathering more puzzle pieces and making your relationship work. If you want to know more about that, then hit that thumbs up for me. Here are the 3 relationship skills you need to have in order to make your relationship last that aren't just love. Number 1, be understanding. Think of the guy that you're dating. He's not perfect, but neither are you. Neither am I. It's important to be understanding, which means we have to be compassionate. This means that when we are not being our best selves, when we fall short, when we face plant, when we're supposed to be standing up, that we're able to get through it. We may not love those parts of the person when that person falls down, but that means that by being compassionate, being willing to be there for each other, we can get each other to stand back up and move forward into a better relationship. Number 2, communicate honestly. Honest communication is one of the most important things you can do. And communication doesn't mean just talking. It means listening as well. If something isn't working for you or your partner, it's important that you come together and talk about it. Not just focus on, well, we really love these things about each other, but those things really don't work. You really want to talk about those things because eventually those things are going to come up anyway. And the guy you're dating is going to elicit more and more of those responses until you deal with it. So being able to communicate is going to be fundamental to making sure that all of those rough spots that you have, that he has, that I have, that they can all work because we're working on them actively. You see, you and the guy you're dating both need to be honest about what you're feeling, whether that's frustration, excitement, worry, sadness, because those things, even though they aren't the fun pieces of the relationship, are still part of the relationship. And if you ignore them, they are going to ruin the relationship for you. So don't make that mistake. Number 3, be willing to compromise. This is a big piece of why my ex and I didn't work out. Neither of us were willing to compromise or change on certain issues. And again, these were key parts of who we were as individuals. And I'm not saying that She was totally wrong for not compromising. What I'm saying is that if the two of you are going to work, you can't come to blows about big key issues, because if you do, you're going to find that there's a big rift in your relationship. Think for a moment. If you want to have kids someday and they never want to have kids someday, if there's no flexibility in that, you guys aren't going to work. And it's not because you're bad, it's just because at the end of the day, that key issue is something you guys cannot find middle ground about. With my wife, we do all three of these skills. We are understanding, we communicate well, and we compromise about some of the things that we need to in order to make it work. That's why this relationship works so much better than the one I had with my ex. This is because a willingness to be flexible and change is so important to growth. And if you think about the life you want to have with your guy, there's going to be a lot of things that life throws your way that you're going to have to change and talk about and shift about. And so instead of being hit every single time by everything that life has to throw at you, it's about being able to grow and change. So you're not growing apart, but you're growing together. I won't lie, relationships, especially ones that last, do take work. But that work is so rewarding because that's how you get the relationship you've always wanted, with the guy who is right for you. Don't get stuck on the lie that love is all you need. Keep that love, and also make sure you use these three essential skills, because the love won't be enough on its own. This will hopefully lead you to a successful, lasting relationship and has love and a strong foundation.